CDC reports nearly 1 in 5 women experience rape at some time in their lives. Nearly 1/3 of those women say it was during college life. A 2011 survey of high school students found that 12% of girls and 4.5% of boys reported that they were forced to have sex at some time in their lives. I'm Thomas Ward.
I'm Zola Anderson. Where does this culture come from? Why is it persisting? Are we as advanced in our society as we like to think? Tonight on Mindset, we examine stolen innocence, the idea that forcing or coercing someone into having sex is somehow okay. We begin with a look at one assault and how it destroyed one young life.
Anna Wood has our report.
Audrey Pott was a normal teenage girl growing up in Los Altos, California. On the Sunday night of Labor Day weekend, she went to a party at a friend's house. She drank too much and passed out. When she woke up the next morning, her body was undressed and she was covered in sexually explicit markings. 3 of her classmates had apparently taken her upstairs, stripped her of her clothes, and drew all over her body. The boys also took pictures of her and shared them on social media. Murmurs went around her school, murmurs that grew into a week's worth of rumors. Sharing of the pictures, online bullying, and humiliation that family members say drove the 15-year-old to fear and depression. She thought the whole school had seen the pictures, and 8 days after the assault, Audrey hung herself. Sadly, this narrative of sexual assault, bullying, and social media is not uncommon. Audrey's picture was shown to more than 1,000 people.
So is this an uncommon occurrence? Sadly, no. Rape is still one of the most underreported crimes in the United States, in both adults and adolescents, despite progress in victims' rights advocacy.
According to the U.S. Justice Department, teenagers are at the highest risk. 44% of rape victims are under the age of 18. In another tragic case, a 14-year-old took her own life after it became known that she was raped by an 18-year-old classmate.
She was brutally bullied at school by her peers, and she was outed on Twitter by the same teen who sexually assaulted her. He not only blamed the assault on her, but he also tweeted how she had ruined his life.
It's easy to see how this type of behavior can discourage rape victims from reporting their rape. Quinn Fox joins us with another tragic story.
In August of 2011, a 16-year-old Ohio girl went to a high school party. There, she became heavily intoxicated and passed out. It was then that 2 football players gang raped her and posted the pictures all over social media. Somehow, the mainstream news media began to blame the victim immediately, saying that it was her fault for putting herself in that position and for becoming so intoxicated. A reporter who was covering the trial said it was incredibly difficult, even for an outsider like him, to watch what happened as these 2 young men that had such promising futures watched as their lives began to literally fall apart. Outrage soon consumed social media platforms such as Twitter and Tumblr. A petition was created to have CNN apologize for the statements made about the 2 Ohio rapists. The 2 boys were tried, but when the verdict came in, the jury determined that they were just juvenile delinquents and were given a minimal sentence.
Too many stories to tell in one night, but a pattern is developing. Physical assault followed by social media assault. Social media provides no relief to victims. It gives a way for others originally not involved to become a part of the bullying and pain the victim feels. There are no secrets with social media. Once something is put online, everyone can see it. Our culture tends to blame the victim, and social media just makes it easier to do this.
Leah Parsons, whose daughter took her own life after being raped, urges students to reflect and look inside when they attack and criticize other students. She also talks about sexual consent, and that only yes means yes. We need to make sure that everybody knows what consent is, she says. Most of all, she urges students to control their own destiny and that they have the power to make the right choices. She says, when they write the story of your life, make sure it comes from you.
Pam Chander reminds us now that the problems with taking women seriously in rape accusations isn't just a U.S. issue.
Urmila is a Dalit woman from a small town in Madhya Pradesh. She was living happily with her husband and 3 children. One day, a man broke into her home when she was alone and raped her. She somehow managed to escape and went to the local police station where no one would file her complaint until morning. She then went to a neighboring police station, and after a few hours, they filed a report. Since then, her society blamed her. Her neighbors and community cut off all communication with her family. The criminals pressured her to drop the charges. They even brutally beat Urmila and her husband, but she would not back down. She decided to fight back, and with her husband's support, she managed to stand tall. Her rapist was arrested and is due for trial. Urmila is an inspiring example of how, no matter where you are or which community you belong to, you should never be afraid to raise your voice against wrong.
So the fight continues overseas as well as here,
When we return, how one woman's fight for justice has moved mountains.
literally.
Don't be a mannequin. Stand up to bullying.
One way police are trying to help survivors is with technology.
Olivia McQuarrie has a look at how one woman improved the chances of convicting rapists for all those assaulted.
One of the most effective ways to identify criminals and incarcerate them is through DNA, no matter what the crime. This includes rape and sexual assault. Rape kits are used to test DNA and identify the attacker. However, most kits across the country are either unused, the testing is unfunded, or they are thrown away before they are tested. This was an obstacle Amanda Wen had to face time after time. In Massachusetts, rape kits are destroyed after 6 months. So if testing wasn't completed or charges weren't filed, the evidence would disappear. She decided something needed to be done. Through her work came the Federal Sexual Assault Survivors Bill of Rights. The bill, which went into law this fall, mandates a standardized procedure so that survivors will be informed of their rights that aren't based on pursuing legal action. The legislation also provides access to sexual assault counselors for all survivors, and rape kit testing that is both faster and more fair.
Amanda would not just sit back and allow the rapist to win. She also fought for justice. It is this attitude that helps to change the culture of rape.
But other parts of our society also contribute to this attitude. Too many men think of women as playthings rather than people. Here's Beth Hammond.
Rape isn't the only thing that contributes to rape culture. Sexual objectification is another major aspect of this culture our society has created. Some men have been looking at women as objects rather than human beings, making them less human somehow. Recently, the hashtag #WhenIWas has gained popularity on social media sites where many women are telling stories of being objectified doing everyday tasks. These stories are important to share because it gives a name and face to statistics. Many people don't see the magnitude of rape culture by simply seeing a statistic on a poster, but when someone close to you shares a story on social media of being raped, it makes the problem real. The victims' rights organization RAIN has worked hard to educate victims of sexual assault on how to report the crime to police and where to get medical assistance. With RAIN's plans and partnering with the government, they hope education on protection and prevention of rape reaches all of America.
The efforts for change have national players and local ones.
4 male students at North Carolina State University created a nail polish that changes color when it comes into contact with several common drugs intended to incapacitate victims.
According to the students, their goal is to invent technologies that empower women to protect themselves from this heinous and quietly pervasive crime. They also hope to make potential perpetrators afraid to spike a woman's drink because there's now a risk that they can get caught. The creators are currently asking for donations to complete their work.
Rape culture is a real problem. Too many women and girls are being targeted and attacked for no other reason than how they look or where they walk.
And too many men are looking at women as objects to be ogled instead of people to be known and admired. Things as opposed to people who feel and think.
We all must continue to work so our culture is transformed from one of imposing power and will upon others to one of relationship and care.
We hope today we helped move us down that road. For Mindset, Stolen Innocence, I'm Thomas Wharton.
And I'm Zoella Anderson. Good night.